So today, we were having one of our yard work powwows. Every now and again, our family will get together and we'll just do something in the yard. And I can't recall a time that I ever actually enjoyed one of these, simply because it's always hot and I always feel exhausted by the end of the day. But there's usually something that God will show me in the midst of everything. Today we were pulling these weeds and it just felt like it was never going to end. You looked into the yard and they were just everywhere. But they had to go. I mean, it was going to destroy the yard if we didn't get rid of them. And as I'm pulling these weeds, I realize that I'm not just pulling the big ones, I'm actually pulling the small ones too. It's almost like I have a type of OCD going on where I want every part of the grass to look perfect. So I'm just pulling these small little weeds with these nasty rough gloves that I have on, and I'm getting blisters on my hands. My mom yells over at me, "Stop, just get the tall weeds. We'll go and get the small ones later with the weed killer." Even after she said that, I just kept pulling the small weeds. And it was then that God spoke something to me. Initially, when we bought our house, the grass was so green. I remember going into the backyard and just seeing this nice, beautiful new grass. Eventually, because we live next to the forest, it just got infected. And there was just no way of stopping the weeds. And I started relating those weeds to my life and how I was created to be perfect. And that because of sin, I became infected. And when we look at our lives, when we look at sin, we see these weeds, this sin. And usually it's the greatest sins that we notice. It's the greatest sins that we want to get rid of fast because we know it can kill us. But we tend to forget what God is trying to tell us. And as I'm sitting there and I'm pulling these small weeds, He's reminding me that even my smallest sins can destroy me. Even the smallest sins have roots. And unless I get rid of them, it will kill me. Just as it would kill my grass, just as much as the small weeds would grow into bigger weeds, my small sins will grow into bigger sins. And then I'll just keep doing this cycle of having to deal with these huge sins in my life, when the root of it all is what I'm doing in small portions. My anger, my lies, my deceit, whatever it is in our life that we're doing in small ways, eventually it will infect us. I see God as this type of weed killer. His forgiveness can destroy even the smallest things that are rooted in our life, and He can replace them with love and joy and peace and happiness and kindness. And we don't always have to fight this continuous battle that we feel like is overwhelming. But when things sprout up, we can simply rip them out and know that God's forgiveness is healing us day by day by day and changing us from the inside. See, God always has something to say. And what He said to me today was, what are you rooted in? Do you still have sin? Do you still have weeds?